Hey there, sweet friends. I hope you are all well. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. It's day 3 of our 13 Days of Halloween tutorial series. And if you're just joining in, you can find links for the first 2 days at the top of the description so you can get caught up. Remember to listen throughout the video for the question of the day. For our project today, we are going to create this one sheet wonder folio. And so this is going to be ideal for your fast crafts, batch crafting, or even craft fairs. And so this little folio has 4 pockets inside, and I've tucked a sweet little image cut apart into each one. And this is going to be such a fun way to capture your holiday memories. So if that sounds good to you, then stick around and we'll make it together. We're going to work with this Halloween collection from Carta today. This was part of my series last year, but I liked it so much that when I saw that it was still available at scrapbook.com, I ordered it again. And for this project specifically, this is a really nice thick paper. And so I like to have that additional bulk when I'm making a one sheet wonder because there's not a lot going into it, but I still want it to be very sturdy. I chose this pattern to work with today because it is a very nice contrast from the A side and the B side. And so we're going to be utilizing that to create our pockets. And I want it to be a definite layering pattern. I don't want this to be too busy. And so of course we're working with our 12 by 12. First thing I want to do is remove my strip here, the branding strip. So now I want to turn this pattern so that it is in the correct orientation, and I'll slide that over to be 8 inches wide. Now I'm going to bring in this piece of scrap heavy duty cardstock, and I'm just going to position it right here along the 6, and I'm just going to tape this down. And it is not as important that this is exactly 6, but it does matter that each of these pieces are cut in the exact same measurement. So I'm just going to use this as a guide, and now I know that everything will line up. So the first piece, remember we cut to be 8 inches wide. Now I need it to be 6 inches tall. Making sure this piece is also. And then the remaining 4-inch strip, I'm going to cut down to the same 6 inches. I got rid of that heavy cardstock, and I'm going to bring one of these pieces back in. This is going to act as 2 pockets for our album, and so I need to come in and cut this to 1 3/4. I've swapped out my guillotine cutter for my scoreboard now, and I'm going to bring these 2 pieces to my scoreboard. I want this to be in the front, and I'm going to take the 8-inch side on the top and score it at 4, so exactly in half. I'll score that second one at 4 as well. And then our 4-inch section on the top will be scored at 2. I just want to take a second to fold on that score line and run my score tool along just to burnish that crease down so that I can get it nice and flat. We'll do the same for this as well. If you can hear that noise in the background, we have managed to get a cricket in the basement and I can't seem to find it, so we're just going to pretend that it's spooky Halloween ambiance in the background. So here I have all of my parts. So I'm just going to punch these smaller strips that will become our pockets. And I'm keeping in mind that I want my inserts to fit into it this way so that when I close it up, those inserts will be well secured. So I want to punch these circles on the left-hand side. I'm just guessing about halfway there, and that will be perfect. Now, the remaining piece is going to be a connector, and it will also be pockets. So for this, I know that these two back patterns will go together. So I want to flip this one over so that my contrasting pattern will show. And then I'm going to punch another one of those circles, and then close that up and punch the other side so that I get them approximately the same place. Now this is going to become the connector. One last thing I want to do before I begin to assemble all of these bits is to punch a tab top on this side. And it is not necessary, but I think it just gives it a little bit of extra fun detail. So I brought my envelope punch board down, and I will create a tab that is 2.5 inches. I want to remove the remaining portion here, so I'll just flip that over and then slide that into place so that the indentation falls right on where that blade will cut, and then go only so far as you hear that sound where you know that portion is going to come off. So now this is an extra added detail. I'm going to be using our Tombow to attach all of these pieces, so it's a good idea to put a little something on your work surface. That way, if anything squeezes out, you won't get it on your work surface. And as I do with this, I'm going to keep the glue in a little bit from the edge so that it doesn't squeeze out. And I'm only going to put it on the sides and the bottom so that I can use that pocket. So let me just add a little glue here. Add my first piece to the top, just making sure that everything lines up. Remember that it's cut exactly, so this should go along pretty smoothly. And then because we only have the Tombow and not that double-sided adhesive, you're going to have to hold this in place for a bit for that glue to start to set up. And then I'm going to flip that over and add the glue to the top, bottom, and this side, and that will create a pocket for the next section. So not only is it connecting these two pieces, but it is also going to give us 2 additional pockets. I think it will be easier to line this up if I turn it toward myself. So once again, just going into the corner, keeping everything straight and even along the side. And once again, just give a little pressure while that glue is setting up. And then we're going to flip this open and add our pocket to this side. So we'll just do that same process of adding the glue to the top and bottom and one side. And then press that into place here. And hold that just for a bit while the glue sets up. and add this to the last page. Remember, I'm keeping the top of the pocket toward the inside of the book. Now that you've got all these in place, you can just fold that over and press from the top so that you're giving this whole booklet a chance for that glue to set up. I'm going to work on the cover next, and that is so that it can allow that glue even more time to dry before we add our inserts. I have chosen some ribbon as a closure, so I want to add that around the middle. Measure that out. I didn't bring any double-sided tape down with me today, but I think if I just add a little bit of hot glue here, that will secure it, and then I can capture it between the layers. So let's just add a little bit here and add that ribbon right to the top. So while I'm adding my other details and embellishments for the cover, I think it is time for the question of the day. So, would you rather go on a hayride or go to a corn maze? Now, I am going to pick corn maze because we live in Southeast Michigan and they have really amazing corn mazes here. And we have always done this with our kids as they were coming up through the Boy Scouts. Both of my boys are Eagle Scouts. And so this is just a tradition that I remember doing with the kids. And of course, they're grown and moved away now, but it's still really fun. And the Tech Hubby and I still go to the corn mazes every year so that we can enjoy fall. And also the ones they have here are generally close to a farm market or a farm stand, and so you can also get your cider and donuts while they're there, and so we're going to pick that. So just let me know in the comments what is your pick. Now I'm going to add these very small flower arrangements. I have made these exactly as I did for my flowers yesterday, but I did not shape them with the shaping tool. I wanted them to have a little bit of a lower profile. You can still pull the petals up a little bit just to give them some dimension, but I didn't want them to be very big and bulky. I did add die cut foliage here in my netting and my twine, and because the image here has a pattern, I don't want to lose that. I'll just offset those arrangements so that it will help to fill in the front cover. Just adding this with a little hot glue. Got a little spider web charm here. I'm going to add that to the top as I do with hot glue. I clip that extra string there and I'll just top that with a button. So now it's time to add those inserts, and remember we have the cut apart images from the collection. I'm going to use a combination of the 3x4 as well as the 4x4. Now I did pick the 4x4s that I could cut down a little bit. So now these are 3.5, but I didn't lose any of the pattern. They were enough background that I could trim that down, and I want them to fit into my pocket and have this still closed properly. So let's add these here. You see how nicely that tucks in. Now these two pockets will open toward the outside. So let's put these 3.5x4 tags in here. Put one for each. One for the last page. Tie up this little folio. clipping off the excess trim. One last detail, of course, is going to be those sequins. And so I'm going to put them down in this corner, and that helps to create a nice balance. I'm going to add those with my Tombow. And that's going to be it for day 3. And I sure do hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And remember to come back tomorrow for day 4. Remember to check the description for links. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day. And I thank you so much for watching. Bye.